Zalew Szczeciński, or Szczecin Lagoon, one of 4 bodies of transitional waters crossed by national borders within the Baltic region. With a maximum length of 55 kilometers and a width of 22 kilometers, the surface area of the lagoon covers about 687 square kilometers. Average salinity is only 0.2%. With an average depth of 3.8 meters, the lagoon is not deep. Its interesting and diversified shoreline in the north is marked by scenic cliffs, while southern shores border wide, flat lowlands. The lagoon has been economically exploited for centuries. Known to sailors, exploited by fishermen who live on its resources, Szczecin Lagoon is a busy waterway on the one hand and a large water reservoir with rich nature on the other. In the uniting Europe, the lagoon is a special challenge for intersecting interests of Poland and Germany, where its all-comprising sustainable development should be jointly taken care of.
Na stan ekologiczny wód akwenów morskich.
The ecological state of marine waters is significantly affected by the processes taking place in river basins and catchment areas. First and foremost, by what is delivered to the seas by rivers. It is also important how these waters are managed, how water management is conducted. The European Union has already regulated the issues concerning river basins management within land areas. For a few years, work has been in progress on marine spatial planning. Matters related to the marine area management are regulated by relevant EU directives. All these problems are dealt with under a number of international projects. One of them is the ARTWEI project, implemented for 2 years. Within the project framework, attempts are made to create a relevant code of conduct and to disseminate principles of good practice. These issues were discussed on the 25th of May at a meeting of Polish group participating in the ARTWEI project with a partner German group here within the Szczecin Lagoon area.
Tutaj na obszarach Zalewu Szczecińskiego.
More than 30 people from as many as 18 different institutions, scientists, protected area services, the Maritime Office representatives, planners, representatives of various economy sectors and non-governmental organizations, local administration from Poland and Germany. How can we preserve natural values and create opportunities for development at the same time? How can we implement the Code of Conduct for Natura 2000 network and keep unique sites accessible for tourists? How should port and shipyard infrastructure coexist with the neighboring unique world of nature? However, the regional development around Szczecin Lagoon has to be determined by the fact that these areas, the lagoon waters and the coast, are valuable for their nature and subject to various forms of protection on both sides of the border. For instance, the local population of white-tailed eagles is the most numerous in Europe. On the Polish side, implementation of Natura 2000 network principles included a plan of the conservation of the wildlife refuge that the lagoon waters are. The plan includes the existing infrastructure, i.e. fishing harbors, tourist facilities and hydrotechnical buildings. The presentation of Andrzej Zich of the Maritime Office in Szczecin drew much attention. He systematically reviewed legal and administrative situation of the lagoon and the relevant procedures and regulations concerning, among others, issuing administrative decisions and formal and administrative matters related to work connected with the plan of wildlife refuge conservation. Marcin Dziubak of the Regional Directorate of Environment Protection presented basic problems of nature resources and showed an overview of methods of their protection on and around the lagoon in connection with the overall context of Zachodnio-Pomorskie Voivodeship. In the international framework, it is of primary importance to work out a compromise between the requirements that areas of Natura 2000 will have to meet and presently performed various forms of economic activities. This aspect will be particularly important in the conservation plan being prepared. The sanitary condition of the lagoon waters will be equally vital.
Zastanawiając się nad jakością wód zalewu.
If we think of the quality of water in the lagoon and Pomorska Bay, affected by contaminants carried by the Odra River, We can be more optimistic now that the great investment project concerning sewage treatment in Szczecin has been completed.
Szczególnie po zrealizowaniu projektu, który dotyczył gospodarki wodno-ściekowej Szczecina.
We observe reduction of water eutrophication, which for an average person is the most important, because it means that such waters can be used for recreation. Clean water means you can enjoy staying outdoors. There are no algae, especially those horrible blue-green algae that often lead to closing down of swimming facilities.
Które bardzo często powodują zamykanie kąpielisk.
Anna Robak-Bakierowska presented a comprehensive report on the sanitary state of the waters, also in the context of Polish-German cooperation and joint work of a special cross-border commission for water quality and water management. First effects of the group's work are already achieved, such as joint thematic studies. Geochemical analysis of bottom sediments and coastal soil of the lagoon is important for the correct identification of various environmental problems. These were explained to the meeting participants by Artur Skowronek. The workshop was held in the original scenery of Szczecin Lagoon, on board the vessel Dziewanna. During an all-day trip, the participants had enough time to exchange the views, talk and discuss some of the environmental issues with German representatives.
So EUCC Germany is part of this project, and we want to reach with our Polish colleagues, with our German and Polish stakeholders, to save this future for the Szczecin Lagoon and to reach a good cooperation for sustainable management in the next future.
One of the proposals of the German partner of the ARTWEI project is to use biological methods for water quality improvement, for instance by using specific animal species such as zebra mussel in prepared aquaculture locations. That was the topic of the lecture delivered by Nardine Stibel. Małgorzata Torbe, in turn, presented the possibility of utilizing some plant species growing by the lagoon as an interesting source of regional products. The idea may be worth implementing in the lagoon communes seeking new areas of business activities, which is a difficult job in the light of present administrative and legal requirements.
Meetings like the one today reveal the fact that we have different regulations.
We have talked about it and we agree that regulations should be standardized in Poland and Germany as soon as possible for the conservation of nature and economic use of Szczecin Lagoon. Chominek Island excellently exemplifies how the lagoon can be exploited while its values of nature are maintained and protected. The island was one of the points on the agenda of the ARTWEI workshop. This 10-hectare islet was created by men in 1889. Traditionally, it remains a dumping ground for the spoil from dredging the Szczecin-Świnoujście fairway. Since some time, the white-tailed eagles have chosen to nest on the island, which is also a relatively large breeding site of cormorants. The history of the island was briefed by Andrzej Borowiec, director of the Maritime Office in Szczecin, and the meeting participants had an interesting discussion on the problem of balancing the conservation of nature and human needs. The proposed compromise allows to maintain the two functions of Chominek so that the bird's habitat will not be disturbed. As many times before, an on-site discussion and exchange of opinions on environmental issues seems to have brought the best results.
Takie spotkania jak dzisiaj są bardzo ciekawe, bardzo pożyteczne.
Meetings such as the one today are very interesting and very useful. The point is that all these participants know each other and cooperate. They meet on various occasions and settle various or more or less important matters. But they seldom meet in groups larger than 2 or 3 at a time, in groups representing 2 or 3 institutions. And here we have more than 10 organizations focused on one topic, in one area, and you can talk with all of them. Various matters can be looked at from various perspectives. You can rarely share them in large groups like this.
Którzy bardzo rzadko w takim dużym zespole te opinie mają szansę wymieniać.
Working meetings and workshops of partners and stakeholders within the ARTWEI project, in the case of Transitional Lagoon, have started a tradition that the parties concerned increasingly understand and appreciate. ARTWEI is an international project. The letters of the acronym stand for Action for the Reinforcement of the Transitional Waters Environment Integrity. Interestingly, in the Old Prussian language, ARTWEI means to go seafaring. Combining the two meanings, we get joint cross-border and trans-Baltic efforts for better protection and better use of the environment of our Baltic Sea.